I am so excited to share with you this new system that I've been using like last month. It's actually a culmination of kind of like 2 3 months combined of like all the best stuff of each. Have you guys ever like been to your project board and you like get on there and you're like boom, you're like whoa, look at all these stuff. Where do I start? What do I do? And you felt a little like overwhelmed, like what am I doing here? Have you ever felt like that?
Yeah.
Like, what should I concentrate on? Okay, let's see, 29 things? I need to concentrate on what? Yeah, so in order to deal with that, what I have found is extremely helpful for me. As the project board starts to get a little like funky and bigger, I'm like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
I started to realize what I did is I started creating these Operation Create Curriculum Team, Operation Funnelflix, Operation. So I started working on these operation documents, and these operation documents is basically like the. At first, I started with like the goal setting framework, and I like put that in, and I went through, and I just identified a checklist. But I want you to see real quick, goal setting. Now I don't do like every exact specification for this. Where is the framework for setting goals? Why is there so much stuff on setting goals here? There it is. This framework here. You guys have seen this, right? So the key is like deciding exactly what you want, like focusing on the outcomes, looking at that. And I'm putting checkboxes on these. Well, let me show you actually. Let me show you one. Oh, I clicked it. Did not mean to click that. So then let's go Operation Curriculum. Operation Curriculum Team. This is almost like a mini project board within the project board, and it's amazing. You see how I got these checkboxes here? It's like Enoch does this. I went through and I organized this, so you're only gonna see my stuff, but these are some of the things, like future things to do. So let's procrastinate on purpose. That's what I'm doing there with that. I guess I could even probably change that. Procrastinate on purpose. Future. And at first I was like, who's going to be on the team? Who are the people I got to talk to? And I was just taking some notes. It's just everything that has to do with creating this curriculum team. It's not just a one and done, like super quick task project type thing you can do in a week. This is like a quarter, for the next 3 months is going to be a big project that I'm undertaking. So I call it like an operation, and maybe we'll change like the quarterly operations. Like that's what we're gonna do. That might be what we do. But that's a type of like larger, higher level things that have a lot of stuff in between. So one of the things to create the curriculum team is I need to create a getting started checklist for the worksheet team. So for new people coming into the worksheet, and I'm going low level just to give you an example, but this could be any task that you guys are doing. So what I do is I'm using Angela's welcome onboarding checklist as to develop that system. So I click it, and you see how simple I held control, but like that's a link. It's linked to it, so it's not like I'm not navigating. I'm not like previously what I'd have to do is I'd have to go over to the project board and I'd have to like scroll over to change the view. I have to remember whose name I'm looking for, and then Angela, figure out ABC, go over here, and then like go try to search through it on this. And she's, doesn't have that much. So she wouldn't, like this video wouldn't be as relevant to her because she doesn't have a lot. This actually works well for people just getting started, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's your checklist. So I'd have to do that. That takes so much time, right? And it's hard. And it almost makes it discouraging to use a project board, especially as a team leader when you're not looking after the things of yourself but the things of others, and you're like providing work for others and opportunities. This is hard to navigate with this thing. So I created this, which is amazing. These operation pages that are like awesome. So that's why I have this, and you can just click it, and then boom, you're there, and it's super fast. You see how you have access to it?
Yeah.
These are all the backlinks. They recently started this, which I think is cool. This tells you everywhere that it's linked to, and I have it Operation Enix October. This is ultimately the end result that I want to show you. But I'm gonna actually hide these backlinks. But the backlinks are cool. If I want to see them again, I can just click that down below. But I don't, because I just don't. So anyways, talk to her getting started checklist, and this is what I do. Essential systems, like I tell her, read this borrowed system from using the 7 golden rules of information products. And I'm just showing her these are the systems that are relevant to your role. So as I'm onboarding her, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this whole thing. This is her getting started checklist that everybody goes through, the general one. It's everything she did. And then I just put it in Toggl just to declutter. Toggles are amazing. We need to master the use of toggles when we got a lot on our plate to handle. Toggles are kind of like a foldering system, a filing system and a filing cabinet with physical paper, or a folder within like a Windows like digital files. So the toggles are great. But my point is, I have everything for her right here, and I'm working on it live, but I'm documenting the process. I'm beginning with the end in mind. The end result here is I want to have a checklist. I'm going to copy all this at the end, and I'm going to paste it over to helping a new worksheet creator get started system on the System Hub. So, but that's just an example of, that's like one of several. You see how that had like multiple sub-tasks I needed to do? And it's like overwhelming if all that is on like this view, and it involves all the different people and it's intense. But when I learned about this, it is amazing. So like create the 3 lists of freedom. You go at symbol and you just type in 3 lists. You're typing in the keyword. Or if you know where it is, you can literally just creating your 3 lists of freedom. Boom. And then it's linked. That's it. So here's a system that I would go through to help build a team, to outsource, to delegate, to think what are my responsibilities, how can I free myself up by building a team around creating frameworks. And so I'm doing that with my mind. This is a system that I follow every single time, but this is where these come from. If you don't know what to use, follow these instructions, and then just, I'm using this as like my worksheet, my assignment, like actually doing it. Does that make sense? Like so far, is this making sense? Is there any questions at this point?
So you're just showing us for the curriculum. I thought what you were gonna do is do the October duties.
Right now, what I'm doing is I'm showing you how an operation page works, how I'm using operation pages.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense because I wasn't exactly sure.
Yes, the same principles apply. Does that make sense? And I'm going to show you the October duties. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Does it make sense to you?
Hold on a second. So instead of having like a bunch of different tasks on the project board, you're making one page like this and assigning all the people involved and having like the things to do here.
Close.
Kind of like an overview act.
Yeah,
like
it's an overview system. But the beautiful thing about an overview system is it's not instead of, it is in addition to. So when we look at the project board.
Oh, so it's on the project board as well, but it's all linked in one place.
Yes, and that's what an overview system is. The overview system is linking to all the project board pages. So as a team leader, you can overview a larger project. You could see it to completion. Who does what by when? Right here on an overview system. Does that make sense? So this operation page is basically a like quarterly overview system, or it's like a large project that I have to like keep track of, and all the people who does what by when. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It helps me a lot. So the reason why I say that is because anytime that we have to create, like do something large, like you it's your responsibility to take on a large project, and you're like, where do I start? What do I do? What I'm doing is I'm literally going through this process in my mind, this goal setting framework. The more that you follow this, at first I would just take this whole thing, I would copy it, and then I'd paste it over. In fact, that's actually what I did in the early ones. So I'm going to go back, and I think, actually I'm going to go to Operation Leadership Development. I think that's what it is. Yes. See this leadership development right here? we are on Operation Leadership Development. That was a big thing that I was doing in August, the end of August, right? And in order to do that, I literally copied and pasted this goal setting framework, because this is a system for taking the imagination, the future of what could be, and bringing it into a reality. It turns the imagination, a vision, a dream into actuality. So we follow this system. So I skipped the why, but what I did is I
You
went.
skipped the why.
I know. I'm just telling you what I did. Sometimes I'm not able to do every process, but it's the gist of it. It's not rigidly following, but use the more of these that I incorporate, the will be the degree of the success in furthering in here. So I creating a sloppy list here. That's step 3. But these are all these question prompts. These are questions that help me to figure out what I need to overcome, what I need to do to get better or to move forward or whatever. So these would be people need to reach out to. These would be people that would go on my list for my life's definite aim, my goal setting list, that my database of just personal goals or whatever, or they might go on my project board. So the way I look at the goal setting, my prayer list, that's kind of that's like my personal project board. That's like how I think about it on my personal home. But that's a side note. So anyways, all of these things, as you see, this is one sloppy list going through these stepping stones. The stepping stones is one of my favorite things for bringing a project to fruition, and it helps you to think. So like the funnel flicks. As you're doing the funnel flicks, you just go through the stepping stones, and it's jogging your mind of all the possibilities of what you could do in order to see that task to fruition, that project. Or for you, for creating the slide design team, you can go through this and you can identify what are all the projects you want to do to see that to fruition. Or even you have a goal, like you've told me your goal is to be more intentional. You can go through this whole goal setting framework on how to be more intentional. These stepping stones will give you the step-by-step exact actionable things right now that you can do that will help you to be more intentional in your life. Whatever the goal is, it can see it to fruition. It's just powerful. I learned this process in October of last year, and it changed my life forever. That's when I studied about goal setting. So anyways, the reason, go ahead.
So it'd be you could do that for the slide design team and the goal card team. And what you would do is just put all the different tasks, absolutely everything that you need to do in regards to it.
Yeah, and what I've been doing, I just call it Operation, whatever it is.
Rebecca's here.
Oh, she's over there?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do we do?
What do we do?
Yeah. I got myself muted, and she's undeafened. So what do you want to do?
I want to finish this and get back to her.
Should I just tell her?
We can unmute it and then she can listen, because we're recording.
Hey, Rebecca.
Can you text her?
Oh no, it's a me. Come on.
Okay, so on here, what we're looking at is we have this, and you can text her too, but we have this this Operation Leadership Development. The reason why I showed this goal setting is because it's literally just until we develop that habit, we start getting better, where it's a part of who we are. I would literally just follow this system, and copy and paste it over. So that's what I did with this. But the reason why I'm showing you this is what I would highly recommend is to have this October duties. This is what I'm really showing you. October duties. See this? This is what I think you'll like, Kamran. This is the highlight of my week. And what I did is I took the culmination of all the different background the backstory I just told you, and this has just been the more fine-tuned thing. This used to be called Operation September Duties, but I just changed it at the turn of the month, and that, rather than creating a new one, it seemed to work out. So I left everything that I accomplished in 2020. I mean in September last month, and I'll probably just leave one for October, and I don't know. I'll see how that goes. But it's kind of like a journal, the account book that's just like keeping track of some of those things. It's decluttering my work here. So I have every major thing in these categories, like the major things of my life that I want to keep track of. So I've got small groups, which here I have, when I open the small groups, I have some of these. But another thing is I want to make sure that I have operation small groups.
So Rebecca only has until like an hour.
I think it's leadership development is what I had for the small groups when this is done right. So anyways, this is Pastor Smith, what he needs to do. It's something, an assignment that I gave him, and I'm keeping track of it here. He doesn't have project boards, so I did not link that to his. Tina, this is something that's for her to do. This is actually my priority today. What I'm going through is this is what I want to do today. Following up with everybody who responded to my stories. You know how I give like invitations. You want to join my small group? I send them a link, but I make a note. It's my responsibility to follow up with them. And this is under small groups. It's just, that's a duty that's revolving that I got to do for 3 months, and so I'm going to keep it here. So quote card team. This is everything that I'm looking at for the quote card team. So I write who does what by when. So Tina, Susie, Enoch, we're working on a system for microblogging, and this is on the project board, just like you were talking about, Kamran. When I open this, I can see our conversation, so I'm not using Messenger. One of the disadvantages of like the project board is it's hard to navigate to, right? It's kind of clunky and it's intense to go back and forth for, and so Messenger just seems convenient. You can just text, but when you just click that, boom, and then you can start typing on whatever the project is, then it actually makes it really manageable and nice. Really, I like it a lot. So then I have all my little minor steps. These are the minor steps, that the stepping stones that we need to do in order to see this to fruition, and I can talk with the people involved. And that's really helpful. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So everything is organized by these toggle lists, and I'll tell you, my list did not start this way. It's the same thing with devotions. It's the exact same format. Start with a sloppy list, and just like you, Tina, during the meetings, you're always identifying who is responsible for that. If you don't identify who's responsible, then you're not going to know. So don't ask how, ask who. Your success as a team leader is going to be who can do these things.
Mm-hmm.
Take all of your tasks through the focus funnel. Does this have to be done? Can I eliminate it? Can I automate this? And so right here, this create system for microblogging, that's automation. Any system creation, like what we did yesterday about the the outline, we created a checklist for optimizing an outline. That is automation. That's a higher level of value of doing that. And then can I delegate this? Who? Does this have to be done by me? Can this be done by someone else? And then who can do it, not how. And you put their name by it. Like this, I got Rebecca. Rebecca mover notes from the graphic design 1.0 over to the 2.0. So remember when we had this right here? The purpose of this page right here, and all 4 of us had this page, was to be like an operation. It's not here. But like an operation, like Operation Quote Card Team Leader Bootcamp. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So we didn't like title them that, but it's kind of like this. And then what I do is I go to the team and then I look for operation large projects, and that just helps it categorize. And I can show you why in a moment. But the intention of this, you see the toggles and you see who. Oh, that's a template, but you see who does what by when and things like that of that nature. These people are doing the worksheets and they're filling the stuff out. The goal here doesn't have to follow this exact format. It could be however, but the goal is to have one central location that has all the things that we need to do to get it done. Who does what by when, and it's linking to the project board. So rather than having all this stuff scattered throughout the project board, and we have to navigate to Kamran's view and Rebecca's view and my view and Tina's view, and then you see 3 systems, you're like, why are all those systems on the system hub, and and it's all that confusion. You just have one operation page, and we can operate off of this, and we can like just link to smaller stuff. But I did that with that, and now I've got one. I just created one for the DFG event because this is our goal for the quarter, and I got one for the funnel team. So for the funnel team, you could see we wrote down Cameron and I were working with Justin just the same way that we worked with Angela. That's what we want to do here, and then we did figure out the income producing activities with the funnel team. So you could just click that, and then you could easily see like, what do we have for the income producing activities? These are the current streams of income. These are future streams of income. These are marketing ideas. It's like boom. So this is some things that we have that we can contribute for the marketing team. It's under weekly sprint, but this would really be like marketing and funnel and stuff. Tina made this. Does that make sense? So where this ties in with all of you guys is what I would recommend. And this is a possibility you could experiment. I just share because this has been so helpful for me, and this is the one page that I look at. I don't go throughout all of the project board. I navigate the project board through this, unless it's not on here, and then I navigate project board just to find the exact title and then link it here exactly. And as soon as it's linked once, then boom, I use toggles to keep track of stuff. And you see last week's here? Last week's was so helpful. Tina helped with this, where once she put everything on everybody's project board, she put this on mine. And I want to make sure, because this is my responsibility, like, to make sure that these things are getting done. Like, someone needs to be, like overseeing the completion of it. So I'm, like, marking things off that I know are done or things that are not done. And some things we said that we wanted to do, like Monday here, converting our page to the database. That didn't get done Monday, so now we have that for today. And just seeing like, hey, how's that going? And you can just move it from today or Monday. And it's very easy. This is just this week. This is the view for this week. This is like, so this is where things get really nice in the account book. Do you ever wonder like, what are the 3 outcomes that I want to do for this today? What's the one thing I could do such by doing would make everything else easier and necessary today? And you think, what are the tasks that absolutely must get done today? And you're thinking, what's on my schedule or agenda today? What do I need to be doing? If all of us, if we created this or did something, rather than having this, like what we talked about, left on the weekly debriefing meeting minutes and just kind of like scattered to be forgotten and never like revisited ever again, by linking them here, it makes it usable. It becomes one central location. When we're filling out the account book, you can pull this up on your phone and just look at Tuesday and just read Tuesday the night before.
Oh, that's what I do.
What do you do?
I go back to the weekly meeting and look at what I have to do for a day.
That is so cool. I saw you doing that recently. It was so encouraging for me. I'm like, I love that. But I didn't have a central location to know where to go. But you're right, I did. I had it, but I didn't think about that. It was like outside of mind, and it seemed like far away, and it was kind of hard to, in my mind, to navigate to. But but what this does is it just creates like all of your most important things just centralized, and with a toggle, you can turn it off.
So it's kind of like, you remember in the beginning when I put it on the people's project boards?
Yes.
I put it underneath one?
Yes.
It's kind of like that, but it's
Yes.
just an updated version of that.
Yes. And the major update of it is linking to the individual project board here.
Yeah, so they're still on the project board, but then there's this page that's like linking to everything else.
Exactly. And the toggle list makes it to where it's not overwhelming. I can turn that off, so just when my mind wants to think about systemology, I can open that. And when my mind wants to think about like, and this is, I'm putting little like keywords here It's like, this is dream team, this is the 80-20 stuff, this is the annual OKR, this is the major year thing that Cameron and I are working on. He was talking about having a system team. I'm like, okay, well, that'd be pretty cool. That would be neat to see to come to fruition. I made a list of all the overview systems that we could create within the ministry, because I was starting to create overview systems, and I was realizing how important these are. So we got the Livecast overview. That changed our life, my life. Building a new funnel, so there's an overview. Carmen's like working on that. Starting a new team, that's something I'm working on with the Team Leader Bootcamp. That will help everyone. That'll help you to develop to know the exact steps that you need to take to form the funnel team. That's for you to know the exact steps to form the quote card team. And so this is just all the overview systems I could find within System Hub that already existed, or what was basically an overview system, but we didn't have that terminology, so I just updated them, and they're linking to the System Hub, except for this one. This one's not linked to the System Hub. That's on your project board.
Yeah.
But does that make sense? And these are the things that need to be done. And then remember how we only have the focus for the 4 teams for the Team Leader Bootcamp? There's only 4 teams we need to focus on. So the Operation Team Leader Bootcamp, see how I updated it and it shows it there? It's just so nice. Where it's, for me, it's an overview, so I know like where everybody is. And by us using like an operation page for developing the team, it helps everyone on your team be on one page and know what are the steps. This is an overview for that team. And rather than like, I noticed that I started getting a lot more operation pages, and where originally the goal was like I have one page that is like my focus, my one thing is that operation. Like for the month I usually have like one that I'm like doing. Last September my one operation page was creating the curriculum team. It was just straight. And then the Team Leader Bootcamp. And I just went through those 2. And that's what I worked off of mostly. I spent majority of my time on Notion on those 2 pages. And that's how we are getting this Team Leader Bootcamp done, and there's a lot of moving parts because of this format. So I noticed I started getting way more operation pages, and it was harder to manage, and I haven't been going back to some of them. So I created just one personal for me, this Operation Enix October Duties. This is for this month overview. It's like a dashboard for me personally. It only has my relevant stuff, and and things that involve other people, like the quote card team, I could link it there within this toggle I can turn off and on. And so I can link it and access it. It's all good to go. I won't forget. It's not inaccessible. It's not out of sight, out of mind. It's right where I want when I want it, and only when I want it. So what I would recommend is considering, like, if for the weekly, like, all we have to do is update, like what you were doing. We just have to update the weekly sprint or the weekly debriefing with these tags, and then we can copy them and paste them on our individual duties.
You mean just the ones that we're doing though?
Well,
not everyone's.
I would copy everyone's and then delete whichever one that you don't want. Because if you're like trying to move around and it's otherwise you're going like copy, paste, it's a lot easier to delete than it is to copy and paste. There's less steps. But you can do it however you want to.
Okay.
I'm sure Connor will find something faster. He does that, but yeah, but basically you could copy everyone who and then you could use this kind of like a digital. What I learned from Brandon Burchard is he has a digital planner, digital calendar, that when he's filling out his physical account book, he's viewing his digital, but that writing helps him to check in for the day. That writing helps him to really solidify with his hands and keep a track of everything. So I imagine he has something like this. I think he uses Google Calendar or iCalendar or something, but it's a similar concept where we have this out by the week. So we planned out the week here, and then we map it out on our account book. Like what Conrad was doing the day before, and he planned his day. And since the last 3 or 4 days since I've seen Conrad doing that, I've been doing that too, using Notion like this with my operation page and my account book, and my days have been so much more productive. I haven't been getting blindsided. I haven't been confused like what I'm supposed to do for the day. I've had some immense clarity and knowing what's priorities. Does that make sense? Yeah. Are there any questions before we close about how to apply this or clarify something?
So for the operation, for like the monthly ones, that's only the things that you want to do. For the month. And they can be revolving tasks.
I'll be honest with you. I originally started this for the month, but I did that for the month of September. That was the first operation page I did just for the month, and September contained multiple operation pages for other projects and operations we were doing, but that was for the month. But then when the month was over, like now we're going into October, I'm thinking, well, do I want to ignore all the work that I did on September and just start from scratch on October and just go there? I was like, not really, because then it's just redoing a lot of the same work. So what I ended up doing is I just changed September to October. This is the same page that I used last month. And what that allowed me to do is I keep a really high level category here, like big objectives, big things, and then use toggles to organize them. And they didn't look like this at first. My September was maybe 2 or 3 of these, but it all started with a big old fat sloppy list. And I recorded that video too. You could see how this page was created. I recorded that because Diana and Angela wanted to know how to manage teams and projects, and Diana's like, what's your system for managing the project board like this? And I was like, well, I guess I can document it. I never thought about doing that. So I just recorded creating this from scratch. And from scratch, I'm doing this in my mind. At first I did this physically by copy and pasting, but I've done enough, now I'm going through this in my mind. And that's how I create these from scratch. Did that answer your question?
You use that for your October duties?
Yes, I use this for everything. Anything that has not been done, that is just an imagination or idea, I use this to turn it into a reality. Every single time. These are literally the stepping stones to get stuff done. To turn a vision to tangible. It all starts with an idea. This is the 4th level of value, right here, goal setting. There's nothing more valuable according to the 4 levels of value framework. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys excited to try to create one of your own?
Yeah, I want to try.
Right on. At least Tina's excited. So, one thing you can do, feel free to funnel hack or remix mine. You don't have to copy it exactly. You can if you want, and you can delete whatever you don't. Just however you want to do it. By all means, you got that. I even have one for personal work, which is kind of cool.
Oh.
Which this is linking to a lot of my.
Rebecca says, "Can I see the screen?"
Yeah, I know. It's going to be recorded. It'll be on the AOYO channel, so you can see it. I want you to see the screen. Actually, I can show you the screen right now. Oh. Screen. Hold on. Alright, you should be able to see it. So, for my personal, this is my active contact list that we learned about. This is my habit journal, my routines, my life's definite aim, goals, prayers, that's what that is. So I have those categorized where what are the things that I need to do. So this is just for my mental note for me, and these are temporary. It's easier to take notes. I have a habit journal, so these are my routine, think of the triggers, or evening routine. These are some of the things that I want to do in the evening, things to remember. these are not going to remain here. This is actually going to go. I have a page that's actually called evening routine, but it doesn't want to open up.
Yeah, because in your personal.
Evening routine.
Right? Because it's in your personal?
No. One thing that you could do. Oh, it's probably because I'm on Kamran's account.
Yeah.
But I can link to my personal things on here, but nobody could access them. One, it says untitled, so people can't see it because the permissions, they can't view it. And two, if you like type something like evening routine, then you take that and you hit Control K, you could paste your link there, and when like someone like Tina goes to like check out your personal habit journal and she clicks it, it's gonna be like access denied, Tina. Creeping on Kamran. Yeah. So
no Tinas allowed.
yeah, no Tinas allowed. This isn't Tina time. This is habit journal time. Evening examination. So you can just highlight any word becomes a link, and you can link that to it. So again, it's just really fast to get you there. Just hold Control before you click it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's still like it's got the privacy of like a diary, but you can do whatever. So I find that is like super helpful, like awesome, amazing to just remember the things that I want to do. So you could see how I bold it. It's like the clear checklist
Yeah.
framework. I bold it, and the little description, just triggers, keywords. Not like I realize I don't read anything here, so I need to consolidate that to be like that. That helps me a lot to know what kind of toggles are in there. So anyways, I'll stop talking, but I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that you were able to check that out. I hope that that's a blessing to you, and it really helps me to keep track of stuff. If you guys have other questions as you're trying to implement it, just let me know. And remember that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called.